Hello again, everyone. My name is Hannah Collison from Inspired Creations Surrey School of Sugarcraft, and today I'm going to show you how to make a cute little teddy bear. Okay, this is an introduction to character modelling. If you'd like to work alongside, then here is the kit list showing what you'd need to prepare and get set up. So what we'll do is I'll just change screens and we'll go straight ahead. Get this in focus for you. There we go. All right. So I have some sugar paste here. It's just the paste that you cover a cake with. And I've coloured it with some gooseberry green. So I'm just using the sugar flare colours. You can use any gel colour or any other paste colour. Just use a cocktail stick to take a little bit into the paste and then give it a good old twist to mix the colour in. The other thing I've done is added some CMC or Tylose powder. This is just a firming agent which will actually help make the paste a bit more workable, a bit easier to work with, and help the character that you're making to set. I've used about 1/4 teaspoon into the paste and simply mixed it in until it's all combined. The paste itself, when you put the CMC in, doesn't necessarily feel firm to start with, but you can work with it straight away. Probably about 10 minutes in, you'll find that you can feel the difference in the paste. So warm up your paste, and then it doesn't have to be completely crack free at this stage. Just divide it into 3 pieces. We do this at the beginning, so we make sure that we've got enough paste to make the whole bear. One piece is going to be for the body, another piece for the arms and legs, and the final piece for the head and features. So take 2 of those pieces and put them into a bag, just so that they don't dry out. And take the extra piece, the last piece, and give it a good warm up. So when I'm warming, I give it a good old twist, squeeze, just to get all the air out, and then roll it really tightly between the palms of your hands and gradually release the pressure to reveal almost like a flattened ball. And as you lessen the pressure but move the paste around the palm of your hand, you'll find it will go into a nice smooth crack-free ball. We want some texture on this bear, so I've got a hammer bead former here, which just has little pegs. It's normally like for a bead game. It's got little pegs that you can roll the paste around on, and that will give it some nice texture. So just have your hand nice and flat, press down a little bit as you're rolling to get the texture of the bear. Everything we texture is textured as a ball, and then it's shaped. Once you've got enough texture on the ball, then you can hold your hand at an angle using this part. Just press onto a little bit firmer on one side than the other. So I've got an angle to my hand, and the idea is to roll backwards and forwards, and that extra pressure on one side will form a cone. The cone itself, as the body, is about 6 centimeters in length. Just support it round the thin end, and as you turn it upwards, just very gently press so that you create a little plump tummy. So this is the profile. In the front here, I'm going to make a little indentation for a belly button. In the back, an indentation using the bone modelling tool, the large end, for a tail. And then on the sides here, I'm just going to indent for the thighs. This can now sit upright on your board. Make sure when you're sitting on your base that you've got enough room in front for the legs. Oops, he's dropped. Okay, so we've got a tail hole there as well, you can see. Okay, so now we want to make the legs. and the arms. So take another third of the cut paste that you've portioned out earlier on, divide that into 2 pieces. Put 1/2 back in the bag, that's going to be for the arms, and warm up the second half. So again, twist, squeeze the air out, roll it into a nice, smooth, crack-free ball. Drop it down onto your veining tool and start to get the texture in as a ball. Okay, so when I'm rolling, I'm just doing this motion here. Every now and again you need to move it around the board just so that you get an uneven texture, otherwise it starts to look a little bit like a golf ball. So now what I need to do is create a sausage, and this sausage is going to be long enough to create both legs. So holding my hand flat and using this part of my palm, roll the paste backwards and forwards. Every now and again move it around the board so you keep that uneven texture. And keep going until the leg thickness is about right. If you notice, I'm running my hand up and down. If you haven't got one of these texture boards, then you can use a cheese grater or a nutmeg grater, or you just don't need to put the texture in at all. So now I've got my leg thin enough. It's roughly about 12 centimeters in length. I can take it off my former, and with a palette knife or a knife, any kind of knife, we're just going to hold the knife at an angle and cut through the center. Bring my one leg turned almost in the direction where the way you're actually going to stick it on. So this angle is going to fit nicely onto where you've indented for the thigh. This one though is the wrong way around, so we need to turn it 180, and then if we turn it the same direction as the other foot, you'll see that the line is in the angle of the cut is in the right way. So we'll just move one leg out of the way and create a foot first. So holding just about 1 centimeter down without too much pinching, it's just a little support from this hand. My finger is going to go underneath the tip end of the foot, and we're going to turn it up. And once we've turned it up, you're going to push down a little way, which pressures the sole of the foot down onto the surface to give yourself a little bit of a heel. And we're going to do the same with the other leg. So I'll just hold it up so you can see it a little bit more easily, but it is better if it's on the surface. So about 1 centimeter on, gentle hold between these 2 fingers, just to allow you to bend. And then you would press down to create a little bit of a heel. So there's no sharp angles. Everything stays quite rounded. So now we have our legs. So I can position the body and the legs onto the board, and we need to put some glue in those areas where the legs are going to stick. So I'll just put a little bit of glue in the indentations that we've created. Pop also a little bit of glue down the side where the arms are going to go. That way the glue can start to soak into the paste and make it nice and tacky, and it should hold straight away. Pop the legs on and in place and make sure the body is upright. For the arms, I'm just taking the remaining part of that third of the paste, and we may not need it all because we won't want the arms to be the same length as the body. So I'm just going to take 2 balls. We'll just start with one, just roughly form it into an elongated cone. We haven't textured it yet because I want to see whether it actually fits the bear. So just bring your bear back into play and then hold the arm there to see whether it's about the right size. This needs a little bit taking off. So simply remove the portion that you think you don't need and get that into a rough ball shape. and then match the second ball to the first one so that you get 2 arms the same size. Warm up the balls, texture them as balls. So again, using this part of your hand, just a circular motion. And then you change the direction of your hand to more of an angle so that you create an elongated cone. So we just bring this into a nice long cone. And when you're happy with one arm, go ahead and create the second, and you can just match the length of the first. So as a ball, create the texture, and then turn directions so that you can elongate. And once you've created both arms, just check that they're roughly the same length, and that will be about 5 centimeters. So you've already glued the area where the arms are going to sit. So we just curve the arms and keeping the narrow part uppermost. We're going to attach those to the body. They can rest on the legs. The idea though is to have the narrow part uppermost and in line pretty much with the top of the body, rather than lower like so, which will make him look very tall, or this one will make him look like he's hunched. So in line with the top of the body is the best look. Okay, so once that's in and upright, you have an option. You can use spaghetti, or you can use a cocktail stick or a kebab stick. So if I use a cocktail stick, I just need to make sure that it's going to be tall enough to fit in all the way through the body and have still a little bit of stick poking out the top. Cocktail sticks are food safe and they're also less breakable. So unlike spaghetti, although spaghetti is an edible product, it's brittle, so it could cause a choking hazard. Just be aware that when you give this to someone, you need to tell them that it contains something inedible or something brittle, just to save anybody choking. I'm just putting a little bit of glue on around the stick, and we've used this is sticking out by about a centimetre. You wouldn't want any more than that because it doesn't want to peek out the top of the head once it's dry. Making the head, we start off just by pulling a piece of paste off the final third that you've got, and this is more than enough, but you need to make a muzzle and ears out of this as well. If we hold a ball of paste over the teddy bear, we can see whether or not it looks a reasonable size. At the moment that looks a little large because by the time we've got the muzzle and the ears on, it is going to look significantly larger. So it doesn't matter if the initial head part is looking a little bit on the small side. So having kind of sized that up, I'm going to just take a fraction of that off and put that under plastic ready to use for the ears and the muzzle. And we can warm the head up. Again, in the same way, twist, squidge, roll tightly, release the pressure to a smooth, crack-free ball. And then you can bring your former back into play and texture as you have done all the other pieces. Once you've furred the ball, we want to make this into an oval shape. So I'm just going to put the heel of my hand onto the shape and press a little bit as I roll up and then back, and you'll probably find that would be the start of making a sausage, but that would be enough to make an oval. So it's oval this way, and it goes onto the hair, onto the body as a sideways oval. So bring your character back into play and pop the head on, making sure that you've got it evenly placed so you haven't got it tilting backwards. We want to make sure that there's the equal amount of weight on the back and the front. Now the head's on, we need to prepare it for attaching the ears and the muzzle. So with some glue, paint the muzzle area quite liberally with the glue. And using a cocktail stick or spaghetti stick, open up 2 holes for the ears. So we just push in the stick or the cocktail stick, wiggle it round a little bit so you open up a good sized hole. This is so that the ears will hold on with the glue. Do the same on the other side. And pop some glue into the ear holes ready. So we've already glued the muzzle area and now we've glued the ear holes as well. So moving the figure out of the way, before we make the muzzle, we'll make the ears. So the ears, we need about 1 centimetre in diameter of paste as a ball. Okay. Match it for the second ear. Avoid making the ears too large, otherwise they might fall off. Just pull a bit off there because that's a little bit on the large side. So roll them into balls, nice and crack free, and pop them on to your former. So just about 1 centimetre. I feel one of those is a little bit large, so we'll just take a little bit more off. So as a ball, get them textured up so they have a fur texture. And then with the fat end, the big end of the bone modelling tool, hold it so the tool is face down and press an indentation into the centre of the ear. If it attaches to the tool, that's perfect. If not, make it kind of semi-stick onto the tool. Bring your figure and your ear together. So it's going to go onto the head, directly straight onto the hole, and you press down into the hole. So that distributes some of the paste from the ear into the hole that you've just made and glued. Do the same again. So I pressed it while it's on the former. It just makes it easier. It doesn't lose or flatten its texture. Bring it onto the tool, bring it towards the head, and then press down into the head. You need to support the head while you do this. And now the ears are attached. To make the muzzle, we don't need to texture it. We just need a ball roughly 2 centimetres in diameter. Nice and crack free. Possibly a little bit more. You've got to be careful that the muzzle's not too big, otherwise it's going to end up sliding off. So into a ball, into an oval like the head. Bring the figure, place the oval for the muzzle into the centre where you've glued, and press the bottom half onto the head. Support the back of the head while you do so. As you're pressing, it's going to create a wedge profile, and then we can work just a little bit with our thumb all the way around so that it's a bit more attached. If your glue is quite fresh, it might move. That's fine. You just need to adjust the muzzle, bring it back to the place where it needs to be so that you can, so it looks right. Take a spaghetti stick or cocktail stick and indent a hole for the nose. We can also at this stage make the markings for where the eyes are going to go. I'm using linguine, which is giving a nice oval shape, but of course you need to make oval eyes if you're going to do that. We're going to cut from the nose hole with the big end of the cutting wheel down to where we want the mouth to be. And then using the back of a paintbrush, a little bit of corn flour so the paintbrush doesn't stick in the muzzle, push the paintbrush into the bottom of that hole, open it up a little bit and pull down to elongate the mouth. As you come out, just kind of flick the paste a little bit so it pulls a fraction out. And then between your two thumbs, just push the bottom so it becomes a little bit more like a chin or bottom lip. Glue using a fine brush this time, because we don't want too much glue on the nose area, on the eye area, because of the black that's going to go on. So put some glue in the nose hole and then very gently paint the eye holes with enough glue so that the paste will just stick. When you're doing this, you don't need to lift him up. You can work with him just upright. I've got a little bit of black paste here. You can use sugar pearls, which are, these ones are 2mm in diameter, and you can pick 2 of those to attach for the eyes. But if you haven't got these, then you can use a piece of black sugar paste. Make the paste come to a bit of a point and then pull out the amount that you need. So we've got 1 ball. Pinch off another ball, but you need to match the sizes. So if one is coming out bigger than the other, you need to remake. The problem you've got is that if the eyes are too big, then he looks like he's got sunglasses. So it's better to have them a little bit smaller. And then I'm going to pull off a larger piece of paste, just rolling into a ball for the nose. Roll the paste towards you on one side with 1 finger, just towards you and back will give you a nice point. Because you've got the grease from the paste on your fingers, you should find that just by lightly tapping without flattening, it actually will stick to your finger. And then because you've got some glue on your eye hole, it will come off onto your figure nice and easy. And then finally we take the little ball of black that you've made into a cone for the nose, and that can be popped in. Now you'll notice that at the moment he's leaning, which is a problem. Whoops, oh, poor thing, which is a problem. So we can stabilize him a little bit, and I should have shown you that earlier, because now I've got black paste color on my hands. But what you need to do is just have a little ball of paste. Do this before you work with the black, and just roll a bit of fur texture onto there. If you lift him up, lift him forward, pop the tail into the hole you made at the beginning, and you'll find that that will stabilize him. It's just in the center at the back there. And we'll just adjust his feet because I dropped him. And there you have your cute little teddy bear. So I hope you enjoyed this. Feel free to have a look at what else we have available to do as a class. There's loads more to come. Look forward to seeing you again. I'll say bye-bye for now.